Hey everyone, this is Falsers. I want to talk to you guys about itemization and stat choices here for the Demon Hunter. As a disclaimer, before we get started here, there probably is an optimal way to build, but I don't think that's the most important. I think the most important for everyone is to build what you enjoy, because there's 1,000 different ways to build your Demon Hunter where it can probably be effective. For example, I saw a video the other day of a Demon Hunter that was in Act 3 Inferno that had some crazy tank build and was taking, 10, 11 hits from mobs before he was going down, then his health would shoot back up with some kind of life on hit or something like that. I don't want to do that myself. I also don't want to do the glass cannon thing that dies in one hit. But if you do, you're not any worse or better for doing that. That's just your prerogative. Do that. This is how I build my Demon Hunter. This is how I enjoy playing. And I know this is an effective way to play because I've cleared Inferno doing it, and it wasn't terribly hard to do. Alright, let's get started. First and foremost, offense is the most important thing as for a Demon Hunter, in my opinion. If you can't kill anything, it really doesn't matter how many hits you can take. And since generally as a Demon Hunter you're going to be kiting, it's important that you kill stuff pretty quick. For your offensive stats, you're looking at dexterity. This is not in order from best to worst or anything. This is just generic. You're looking at dexterity, increased attack speed, crit damage, and crit chance. I think those are probably the 4 biggest things you're going to want to look at here. And obviously the raw damage on your weapon is a huge deal. So the thing to keep in mind with these stats is they all play off each other in a big way. Having said that, some synergize better than others. The main 2 that I would point you guys to being crit damage and critical hit chance. If you have a high crit hit damage like I do, I've got my weapon here with the 70% crit hit damage increase, and then because it's a crossbow, it gets another 50% crit damage increase, which gives me 170 crit damage here. You notice I have almost 30% crit hit chance, which is pretty damn high. These 2 things synergize very well. I crit a lot and I crit hard. Keep in mind that the damage on my character sheet here that I'm showing you guys is the damage pre-sharpshooter. I do have steady aim on, that adds 20% flat damage. I feel like that's about ballpark of what sharpshooter normally adds. You shouldn't look at your damage in terms of fully stacked sharpshooter. That's with 100% crit chance and it goes away after your first shot. It's inaccurate. Don't do it. Look at it with like steady aim on or nothing on if you prefer. But anyway, dexterity adds 1% base damage per point of dexterity to whatever you do normally. When you're looking at gearing early in the game, you get a lot of rings and amulets with plus 2 to 4, 6 to 18, whatever damage on them, and those are good early game. In Inferno, we don't want those anymore. That damage is negligible. Dexterity wasn't as big of a deal at low levels because, when you're a level 1 Demon Hunter and you're doing 13 damage per Hungering Arrow, 1% of 13 isn't a lot, but that 2 to 4 damage from that ring was a lot. That was a significant contribution. That's not the case anymore. We're doing, in a lot of cases, hundreds and thousands of damage per shot. That 1% adds up. You get a piece with, let's see, 109 dexterity on it here on these gloves. That's 109% more damage that I'm doing. I know that's confusing a little bit, but dexterity is good. Get a lot of it. Attack speed is another good one. You should get a lot of that too if you can. It drains the hatred tank quick, but the quicker you can pump that out, the more you can kite. I personally don't like to have more attack speed than I'm comfortable kiting with and stutter stepping with. But there are a lot of moments where you're going to be able to just free cast if you're using something like Rain of Vengeance with Stampede on champ packs or something, and you can stand there and just spam your moves, and the quicker you can get that hatred tank empty, the more damage you'll do in a short amount of time. So that's good too. Secondly, we need to talk about defense. Defense, I think, is important as a Demon Hunter. There's a lot of people that will tell you otherwise, including the general consensus on the official forums and say the subreddit for Diablo. But I like not dying in one hit. I really do. I've grown quite fond of it. You'll notice here that I have 54,000 health. I've got just under 400 resistances here. They were at 450, but I've replaced an item recently. I can take 2, 3, 4, rarely 5 hits in Act 3 Inferno. I can take several before I die from about any mob, except for the really big ones like the fat dudes, the Golgers or whatever. And that's nice. and yet I still have enough killing power to get them killed in a reasonable amount of time where I feel powerful. I feel like they're dying quickly. I feel like a DPS class, and I'm not a total glass cannon. So for building defensively, you're looking at 2 stats, Vitality and All Resist. That's really all you're looking for. You can pick up a few utility things. Move speed is a really strong stat for Demon Hunters. My boots here have 12% movement speed on them, as you can see, and that helps a metric fuck ton when I am kiting things. It is a wonderful thing to have. Your resist all is also really important. It's almost more important than Vitality. When you're building your defenses here, don't think in terms of the individual stats, like, you know, oh, well, this piece gives me 3,000 health more than the other piece that has 60 all resist, so I'm going to take the Vitality one. Don't do that. All resist gives you effective HP, and I believe, and I hope this is right because I'm recording this and putting it into a video, that every 2 all resist is 1% of your effective HP. That's important. That's a lot of effective HP when you start getting this all resist up. So, you know, if you have 300, that's 150% of your life and effective HP you have added. So think about it in terms of that, not just in terms of your raw HP here, because mitigation is important. Armor, not such a big deal. You'd have to stack a lot of it for it to be important, and it really hits diminishing returns. So don't worry too much about that. I wanted to go through and show you guys my items individually and explain and talk just a little bit on each one about why I chose them and what I have done with them. And hopefully that'll help. First off, you know, I got my bow here. It's got pretty high base damage, 1100. It's got a little vitality on it. That was a little cherry on it. More importantly, it's got this socket where I can put 70% increased crit hit damage on it. So I can get my nice, you know, 90, 100,000 crits here and there. I really like this bow, although I could afford to upgrade. I'm by no means optimized, but my gear is good. The quiver here, got a really damn good quiver. We're looking at, you know, 4 flat base stats here: strength, dex, int, vitality. The main ones there obviously are dexterity and vitality. It's got a pretty good attack speed on it, some hatred regeneration. I'm really fond of the elemental arrow damage here because I think Nether Tentacles is the best DPS thing a Demon Hunter can be using right now in the game. The socket adds a nice little frosting to that cupcake. To the jewelry, got a nice amulet here, high dexterity, high vitality. Not too worried about the 15 maximum damage. A lot of you might think that looks nice for whatever reason. It's not really that big of a deal. More importantly though, crit hit chance increased by 5.5% along with that dexterity. Keeps my crit up, synergizes well with the crit hit damage. The reduced damage from melee attacks by 3%. Not too shabby either for a random defensive stat on an amulet. And then of course the socket. This ring right here is not the one I'm supposed to have equipped at all. There we go. That's not a bad ring though. That's my magic find ring. That's you know, 12% increased attack speed, 4% crit chance, etc., etc. However, I'm gonna go with this bad boy because I'm a fan of resist all. I'm a huge fan of it, and damn near 50 on a ring ain't too shabby. And I've still got the crit hit chance increased by 3.5% and the 50 dexterity. Natalia's Mark. This thing is fan-damn-tastic. 83 dex, wonderful. Flat attack speed, 14%, wonderful. Life on hit, not enough there to really matter. I don't stack it as a Demon Hunter. We're not particularly worried about it. A little extra gold from mobs. And the life regeneration is, you know, okay. It's kind of whatever. But then we get to look at these little set bonuses here in green. I'm getting 7% crit chance for having another piece of the Natalia set on, which is a huge amount of crit chance for a set bonus. And then the third piece gives me 130 dex, which is a pretty nice little boost. We'll get into that a little more here in a minute. Actually, we'll do it right now. Let's go on to Natalia's Gaze. The base stats on this particular helmet, I'm not terribly crazy about. A big thing with your helmet, you want it to have a socket, because gems have effects on them that are specific to helmet and really, really good. Particularly in Inferno, we're looking at the amethysts here that give you 12% life for this one, or 13% with this one. They get better and better on the percentage, you know, the higher tier they are of a cut gem. you want pretty much any helm you're wearing to have a socket. This has got, the 78 dex on it, but I've primarily got this for the set bonus of the 7% crit and 130 dexterity. The fear does seem to proc a lot for a 4% proc chance, but in all fairness, I guess there's a lot of ticks and nether tentacles going out when you shoot a line of those, so that's kind of nice. Don't gear for fear on hit though. That's silly. And then on to the cloak here. Again, we're using 3 pieces to maintain that set bonus. But more importantly, this has 79 dex, an okay vitality score, but it's got the 7% life if you look on down there, so that compensates there. And then 30 resist all elements. This one has a shitty bonus for demon hunters, critical hit chance, a strafe 4%. Who gives a damn? Who uses strafe? Get out of here. For our boots here, using Sage Seekers, this might be my favorite piece on my demon hunter. I love these things. You got a dex score of over 100. A modest 50 vitality, not too good, not too bad. 30 flat fire resist, which is particularly handy in the Diablo fight in Inferno, so he doesn't one-shot you when a random fire mechanic hits you because you fucked up a smoke screen. 60 resist all, and then the 12 move speed. Move speed's wonderful, don't forget that. If you can get boots with move speed with some other good stats on them, as in resist all, a little bit of dex, a little bit of vitality, do that. The gloves here, over 100 dex, that's good. Int gives you 1 all resist per 10 intelligence, so we've got about 6 all resist there from the int. 54 vitality, that's not too shabby. And then we've got cold resist with resist all, 65 resist all elements, and then on down, critical hit chance increased by 8%. Again, synergy with the crit damage. Lots and lots of crit is a good thing. Shoulders. My shoulders are okay, they've got a lot of life on them, between the 6% life and the 80 vitality. That's a lot, and then damn near 60 resist all. Heavy defensive piece here, really good for survivability. I'm a pretty big fan of these, even though they could afford to be upgraded. I like the defense they bring. My bracers are terrible. Modest dex, modest vitality, low resist all. I need to upgrade those bad boys. Ideally, we're looking for something with around 50 to 60 resist all, around 100 dex, around 100 vitality. Anything over that is just a damn fantastic item you're going to want to hold on to. The pants here, again, probably afford to upgrade them. We're looking for things over 100 dex, over 100 vitality, around 50 resist all would be nice. But 2 sockets, so we do get to add some gems in. If you're wondering, hey Falsers, why do you have vitality and all this shit instead of dexterity? Well, that an argument could be made either way. I feel like I said, I do plenty of damage to kill things before they are too close to me. Things still die really quick. I don't feel like I need more damage. What I do need, though, is when my cat decides to jump in my damn lap and I'm fighting a pack of champion mobs with, mortar, vortex, molten, anal rape, I feel like I need to be able to survive a hit, and that vitality helps me do that. I don't like dying. I really hate dying, so vitality helps with that. The belt, good dex, okay vitality, but you get to the 6% life, a lot of health on this thing after that, and pretty good all resist there. So the too long don't read version of this video is, these are the stats you want: dexterity, increased attack speed, crit hit damage, crit hit chance, and all resist and vitality for your defensive skills. I hope this was informative, albeit long-winded, but I had a hard time cutting this down. This was a lot to talk about. But I hope this has helped. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer. Thank you so much.